Welcome to HoodooTube, your one-stop shop for reviews of fantasy, horror, and supernatural entertainment for the African diaspora. Before the Black Panther film debuted in 2018, the Black Panther was considered an obscure or little-known superhero who was only recognized by hardcore comic book lovers, especially black comic book fans. But after the massive success of the movies, the Black Panther has now become a universally celebrated superhero, reviving the popularity of the Black Panther comic books. I think with more public interest in the right media, the same can happen to another historic and groundbreaking black superhero, Dr. Voodoo. Dr. Voodoo isn't yet considered one of the more popular superheroes, and his own comics aren't readily available in most comic book stores. Trust me, I checked. But he does make appearances in current comics like the Storm series, the Incredible Hulk series, Doctor Strange comics, and the Uncanny Avengers. Dr. Voodoo, formerly known as Brother Voodoo, made his first appearance in comic books way back in 1973, in the same era that the Black Panther debuted, when black comic book characters first came into the mainstream. Brother Voodoo's real identity is Jericho Drum, a Haitian American immigrant who left his home country and his cultural beliefs in voodoo for college and academia in America. But after discovering that his twin brother Daniel, who still lived in Haiti, was murdered by a dark voodoo practitioner, Jericho devotes himself to magic in honor of his brother. When Brother Voodoo used his magic for the first time, his brother's soul was tied to his own, becoming his spirit guide from beyond the grave who helps him fight injustice. Jericho trained to become a Hongun, or a voodoo priest like his late brother Daniel, under the tutelage of his mentor Papa Jumbo, and his powers would eventually grow to transform him into a necromancer with the ability to speak to the Loa, or voodoo gods and spirits from the afterlife. He also has expanded his magical abilities like being able to mind control animals, especially reptiles, fire manipulation, flying, telepathy, teleportation, and many other magical abilities. But besides fighting evil spirits and sorcerers by trade, Jericho Drum is actually a psychologist with a degree, which made him a perfect collaborator with Doctor Strange. While Doctor Strange is the medical doctor by trade, Dr. Voodoo is the psychologist, and they allied themselves in Dr. Voodoo's more recent graphic novels, which was released in 2010. In this story, Jericho not only becomes allies with Doctor Strange and fights alongside him, he even becomes Doctor Strange's successor as the Sorcerer Supreme, where he took on the name Doctor and became one of the most powerful guardians of magic on Earth. Now, most people aren't aware of Dr. Voodoo's lore, but I do think from the comics of his that I've read that he has a compelling storyline. And if you were written into one of the up-and-coming Marvel movies like The Avengers, Black Panther, or his own debut film or TV show, I could easily see his popularity in film and future comic books explode in the same way we saw for the Black Panther. If you're looking for a comic book character that pulls from African spirituality, fantasy, and mythology, then we should be reading comics featuring Dr. Voodoo. And in time, we may see his own comics come back in major distribution. And I think a therapist who can cast out evil spirits from his patients is an incredible premise for fantasy or a horror movie. And Dr. Voodoo could easily be the next major black superhero to hit the big screen.